I've had some technological trouble tonight. I don't know. But doesn't matter. I mean, if you are muted and you have a question, just unmute yourself. And yes, no. Does anyone have a question that would like to ask? Consistency is an important part of this work. And many people that come here don't realize that each class is like a stepping stone towards building an inner life that's strong enough to really connect one with higher energy, God, whatever one wants to call it. And the consistency of doing it is really important. I mean, I'm not saying this because I want students. I've had enough students in my life, to know that the important thing are not students, but the students that truly want the spiritual life. And that consistency of doing it really makes that possible. This is a meditation practice that focuses on the development of a chakra system inside a human being. And that chakra system takes time to develop. It takes a lot of resistance to overcome. It takes, a focused attention and a continuum of inner work to be able to master the chaos that exists inside oneself. So when I ask people to have consistency, to come to at least 2 classes a week, I mean, I'm not going to go tracking you down and what you're doing, and I don't run the Kundalini FBI here, but I'm trying to, people to be responsible and to understand the importance of consistency. Yes, if you have something with family you have to do, or, it's not a problem, I mean, do it and take care of your karma and your responsibilities. But if the period is open and the need is real inside, take advantage of what is being given here and what is being made available literally 7 times a week here via Zoom. I mean, 4 times in the Americas and 3 times in Europe and, the Middle East. And anyone can attend any one of those classes. If you don't get an invite to the classes in Europe and you want to come to them, just let me know. I'll put your name on the mailing list. They're 1:00 my time, and take advantage of what's being offered. I mean, when I studied with Rudy, I began to understand that. And, I lived in New York, he was in New York, and I would go to his gallery at least 2 or 3 times a week, simply to go there and sit and do my inner work with him. Plus the classes I would go to all the time, and understood that the importance of taking advantage of what God, the universe, puts in our lives so that we can grow and we can develop a spiritual life, connection with higher energy. And never take it for granted. I mean, everybody took Rudy for granted. Monday he wasn't here anymore. And it really upset a lot of people. So don't take anything for granted. Really understand the essential nature of what it means to sit in a meditation class, to absorb Shakti, to use that Shakti to build an inner life. It's kind of a miracle what goes on here. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
Hi, Stuart.
Hi.
Today I want to know, how can you step out of your comfort zone? Because I live.
You have to repeat that. How can you get out?
How can you? How can I get out of the comfort zone? because I live a good life, but I want to keep growing. So how can you get out and do things when you're already good?
Elaine, dear, you know the musician Miles Davis, jazz musician, very famous jazz musician in America, around the world. Uh, he used to play. He had a group, and in the group was John Coltrane, who was another famous jazz musician. And John Coltrane asked Miles. He said, I can't stop playing. I improvise and I start improvising, and I can't stop the improvisation." So Miles Davis just looked at him and said, "Take the saxophone out of your mouth." You know, and I think it's the same answer. You know, look, when I was young, I mean, my God, I was 19 years old. I went to Europe. I went here. I went there. I had a gypsy need in me. I had a need for something that would break the stagnation of my life, something that would be different. And inside, I was looking for my meditation teacher. But I just, no matter what I could do, I would do not to be stuck in the stagnant life that I saw around me. And I took chances with my life. I experimented with life. And some of them were very difficult. And I wound up getting into a bunch of trouble, but at least it broke up the stagnant nature of my life. And it took 9 years from 16 to 25 of doing this, to find my teacher, Rudy. And when I found him, I said, "Stuart, this is what you're looking for. Don't lose it. Learn everything this man has to teach, everything." But you got to take chances with your life. I mean, my life, to be honest with you, has been constantly renewing itself for the last 50 years. Constantly renewing itself. I mean, it's doing it now, and I'm like, oh, God, again. It is constantly renewing itself. But I need that death and that rebirth. I need to let go of the old and open to what God is going to send me. So a whole new cycle of energy manifests in my life. At first, it used to scare the hell out of me. And then I began to realize, Stuart, this is necessary. You have to take chances. You have to step into the unknown. You have to be willing to take chances. And as you get older and you do this, the chances become more educated. You have more strength inside yourself. You have more foundation. You're grounded inside. And you're not afraid to take chances in life. Doing deep spiritual work means you have to also take chances. I mean, one of the bad things about Zoom is everybody does this in the comfort of their home. You don't have to leave the bedroom in order to do this, and that. I mean, I had to at least go across town to go sit in my teacher's class, Summer, winter, rain, snow, I had to go. Getting home at 4:00 in the morning because I was working in a restaurant. I had to get up at 7:30 in order to get to a 9:00 class. But the need was so profound by me that nothing stopped it. I knew what I needed. I knew what I had to get. That breaks the comfort zone. And then the universe will send you go through this whole thing of letting go of the old and allowing the new to come in. Being able to step into the unknown. I think one of the eighth deadly sin in the world is being satisfied with your life. Now, this might be difficult for many of you to grasp or comprehend, but it's, there's a basic truth in it. The day you become satisfied with your life, the only thing that grows is your ass. I mean that. because the energy of God has no limitation. It's infinite. And we can't try to stick it in some little cubicle, of self-satisfaction. Can't do it. Doesn't work. So you have to have, to do deep spiritual practice, you have to have a lot of guts. You have to have a lot of courage. You have to do things that ordinarily people don't do. And, I'm not talking about, stupid things, but things that like inspiration inside yourself to try something new, to do something new, to step out of your comfort zone and not be afraid to do it. Learning how to support yourself, learning how to earn a living, take care of yourself in life, and learning how to do it where it doesn't interfere with your spiritual practice. And this is not easy, it's not easy to do. But I can tell you, when you finally make a deep enough commitment to have a spiritual life, it becomes the greatest adventure that God could ever you could ever imagine. So you have to go in your heart and get centered and not be afraid to take a chance. Not be afraid to learn how to support yourself, how to live in the world, and at the same time be free of the world. And I think you can do it. I mean, look, you're a young person and you should not allow yourself to be trapped in some comfortable way of living that you think, I mean, there's a bunch of these things I've been writing lately about the fact that no matter how rich people are, there's one thing that everybody is up against, and that's one day we're not here anymore. No matter how much no matter how much you get in life and how wealthy you are or poor one day it all gets taken away. So between now and then, we have to learn how to surrender all the fear, the insecurity, the pain, the difficulty, in order to become a child of God, living in the world. It all gets taken away anyway. The comfort zone, the uncomfortable zone, it all gets taken away. So we have to get free of this thing that we create in our own brain about what is secure and what is not secure. The only security I've ever found in life is a connection with God. It's the only security I've ever found. And I always put myself in situations where I needed to deepen that connection. I'm doing it right now. I mean, I want to move from this place. I want to get either a nice loft or a house. I'm not a kid anymore, and I have to go back and do business and, figure out a way. And it's coming. It's just a miracle. It's coming, without me having to open galleries again and go to India, 4 times a year. I mean, Although I like India, I used to love going there. It was just the most extraordinary place. I don't know how many of you have ever been to India, but it's so extraordinary there. It's like, you step out of your hotel and you cross the street and you're in the 10th century. It's really unbelievable. It's amazing. I used to love going there. The only thing that used to make me crazy is you take 18 hours on a plane to get there. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. I want to see you grow. I want to see you have an amazing life. So don't be afraid. You're very young and you can really take chances with your life and have a one. The whole purpose of this is to get big enough inside to have an extraordinary life. And life should be an adventure. It should be interesting on every level. And one thing I can tell you, just to finish, if you connect with spirit, if you build that kind of system in yourself, and stop manufacturing your life in your brain and allowing a higher energy to flow through and guide your life, it will lead you to the most extraordinary life you can imagine. I mean this. You will find creativity in yourself that you never even dreamed you had. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
I would just like to say, Stuart, it was life-changing when you helped me pick up the pieces after my divorce and took me to India. And I could never thank you enough. And I might have said it at the time, but it was one of those transformational things that you did for me.
Well, you're welcome, dear. Well, it was fun riding on motorcycles, not even knowing where you're going in the middle of the night. It was fun.
It was a total sense of surrender. But thank you for that from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, it was a nice trip. And Christine, a very nice trip. Every trip I ever made, there was a completely different thing, really. I think I've been there at least 40 times. Does anyone else have a question? I stopped going because I really got tired of flying for 18 hours. It just was.
And it was very unhealthy there.
Does anyone else have a question? Okay, God bless you all. And there'll be a meditation on Tuesday or Monday, tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. And again, I like to thank you. I come here to learn. I tell you this all the time, and it's true. I come here to learn, not to teach. Your questions, your presence here draws out of me things that are really there to not only teach you, but to teach me. So this is all growing. It's about expanding consciousness, developing a spiritual life. And it's something where it's very important for people to come together and do this kind of thing. Yes, it really helps everybody to deepen their inner life. So God bless you all. Thank you. There'll be a class tomorrow evening, and I'm looking forward to seeing you.